How's it going, guys? Welcome to the FM Dugout for episode 18 now of the Hexagon Challenge. Still here with Ajman Club in the United Arab Emirates. And, well, today sees the end of season 4 and also the end of my time here at Ajman Club. It's time to leave and move on to pastures new. So today's episode is just going to be a quick run through of really the remainder of the season following last episode's Champions League victory, which is the reason why we came here. And it is definitely time to move on. So let's take a look first of all at the schedule. Actually, do you know what? No, let's take a look at the season review. This is probably the best place to look because it gives you everything you need to know on one screen. So the league, we won. So we won our third top division title after winning the first division in the first season. So won the league every single year. It was tougher this year than other years, but we still did it. Was pleased with that. President's Cup lost in the quarter-final again to Al Ain. Now, the reason the President's Cup is so difficult to win is because it comes about at the same time as the Champions League knockout stages. So it's very difficult to keep a team fit at that point in time. It is at the end of the season, and there's a lot of tired legs around. Making excuses, but we lost again, so we were unable to win the President's Cup whilst here in the United Arab Emirates, so a little bit disappointed with that. However, we did manage to win the Emirates Cup. We beat Al Ahly in the final, and that's the first time we've managed to win that particular competition. So that's kind of like the League Cup. This is like the FA Cup, and then the Super Cup is obviously like a charity shield, if you like. So we won that again this year. So we actually won 3 domestic kind of titles. We also won the Asian Champions League, of course, early in the year. So technically, and it certainly did report it this way, we won a quadruple this year, which is a great way, I suppose, to end things. You can see from the league position here, we didn't stay top all the way through, and all of these games came when we had lots and lots and lots of matches earlier in the season, and there was a lot of tired legs. There was one spell, I think, after the Club World Championship where we were playing games every 2 days. So if I take a look at the Pro League, we can see this is our league campaign. Okay, so we had one loss against Al Ahly. Look at the number of draws that started to creep in, and look at the fact that there's not many games where we scored more than 2 goals. Al Dafra is the one game that kind of stands out, maybe Al Aruba. But we were only winning games by 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. It was much, much closer. One of the reasons for that, I believe, was the fact we hadn't made a signing since February of 2018, so about 18 months ago. And things just became very stale in the team. I was rotating as best I could to keep people fit for the important games, but it became a bit predictable. Our formation was the same, we weren't really changing personnel, and I think people got into a sort of complacent state. So I'm delighted we still managed to win the league. There was a couple of games here where, at this point Al Wada were closing in on us, and then we just managed to secure it. Actually, I think Al Wada failed to win after we beat Al Shabab in the early kickoff. So we won the league, which is fantastic. In terms of the Emirates Cup, that was our run. So we played the league campaign and drew once, won all our other games. I think we topped the group. Then Hatta a comfortable 2-0 win in the semi, and then a fairly narrow win over Al Ahly in the final. Next up is, what do we have? So obviously we had the Asian Champions League, which we managed to win. The Club World Championship then came in, and yes, we did better than expected. So we had a 4-0 win against Amakali. This game came about 4 days after the Champions League final. We then played Suwon and came back from 2-0 down at half time to win that game 3-2. A late goal on from Walid Ahmed Hassan. So we did well in that game. And then we drew Juventus, and I thought we were going to get thumped. Now we got beaten 4-2, but it was after extra time, so we took it to extra time. We were 2-0 up, and we were 3 minutes away from making it to the final of the World Club Cup, putting out Juventus, and Mario Mandzukic managed to score. Now, we were getting absolutely hammered in this game. I think they had 35 shots or something at goal, and Everton managed to score a couple, obviously one from the spot. We nearly managed to get through, but as soon as we went into extra time, our players were down actually at 30%. Some of them was just absolutely dead on their feet. And then we played Portland for the third place playoff, and again started promisingly, but then just collapsed as the game went on. People just got far too tired. So we finished fourth, and we managed to get 1.3 million, I think it was. So financially we were up at like 2.8 million at that point, which was great. And if I was staying on, then you have a bit of money, but still there's not really anyone to sign. It's just one of those things that there's not really many great players around. Any of them that are here will be getting paid over 10k anyway, and we can't afford that. So next up, what do we have? President's Cup, I suppose. Beat Emirates in our first round, and then lost 2-0 to Al Ain. Had to play a weekend side because we were going to play Al Ahly. So Champions League. So we do actually have to go through this season's campaign. So we had group stages against Al Fizali of Saudi Arabia, Al Sadd of Qatar, and Fulad, I can't remember where they were from, Iran. And we did okay. We had 3 draws in there. We drew 2 of our away games and a home game against Al Fizali. It looked pretty poor to start with. We had 2 draws out of our first 2 games. So 2 points out of a possible 6. But then we pulled it back a bit. 2 wins against Fulad, Al Fizali. Drew away to Fulad, which is pretty disappointing, and then beat Al Sadd 3-0 at home. So I could tell things were obviously different from last year. We won all 6 games, and there just seemed to be a general kind of shift, as I say, much like what happened in the league. We then drew Al Ahly, our favourites, so we had them in our league last year, our group stage, and beat them twice. We then obviously had them in the Asian Champions League semi-final and put them out. However, they reversed it this time. A 2-1 home loss for us. 1-0 up at half time, and then just fell apart again fitness wise. Just really things were draining on us at this point. We then had them again a week later, and we tried. We very, very nearly took it to extra time. A couple of late chances, and even with Yusuf Al-Said getting sent off in the 87th minute, we didn't stop pushing. But that saw the end of our campaign. So yeah, that's pretty much how things ended up. So we won the quadruple in our last season, which seems great. If I go back quickly over the transfer history, looking at some of the signings that we made, going back to season 1, I think Abdullah Al-Kamali has been a great servant of the club. You can see, he's been consistently good, and certainly the first couple of seasons he had an excellent first year in the Pro League. Number of goals started kind of petering out, and I saw the same sort of thing with Ali Khamis. Obviously we didn't sign Ali Khamis, but he was a great signing, and a lot of these guys are still around here. Abdullah Ahmed has been doing well for himself. Actually, I say a lot of them are. There's only a couple, Mubarak and Ahmed. The signings in the next year, Yusuf Ahmed seemed like he was going to be really good, but he's been pretty poor this year. Abdullah Al-Hamadi, he's been a kind of backup player. Cinnamon has been a great signing for us. Looking at his stats over the last 3 years, consistent performer, over 7.5 in every year. Never scored for us. And again, look, you can see that first year in the Pro League we had 13 assists, and he's dropped down to 5. Last year and also this year, and you can see the number of appearances as well has dropped for him, because obviously I've had to keep him fresh for the continental games. Ali Ismail Ibrahim was an excellent signing. Also, Hamid Mohamed Ibrahim started to get better. Khalef was a fantastic signing, as was Will Miller. Al Mansouri was an excellent signing. So that was a really good year, and to be honest, looking back at this, I think we got a good run last year. Everything clicked at the right point, and that allowed us to win the Asian Champions League, which it doesn't look like I would ever be able to do it again here. So last season, 4 signings. Everton, fantastic signing for us, 15 and 18, and then look at this year, 8 and 18, and is dropped. So you can see that whole performance level of the team has just fallen by the wayside. The 2 defenders that we signed as well, Al Ghaferi, Al Sayed, have been good for us as well. Iago Philippe, now valued at 1.4 million, he has been fantastic for us. He's broken the record for highest average rating in the league. He's been really good, but again, he's not been as good as last year. He scored 5 and 10 last year, and he's now scored the same amount in 22. Lots of player of the matches, though. He has done very well. But yeah, he was a good signing also. So that kind of takes us to the end of the journey. I mean, I'm thoroughly enjoying my time here, and we've done what we set out to do. And in terms of my profile now, you can see we're just at 2 and a bit gold stars. One thing I will mention, I did actually apply for a job. I'll show you in a moment. Wadi Degla was in Egypt, and at the point in time I applied for them, they were sitting 4th in the league. They managed to finish 3rd. Now the way I looked at this was, I thought if I could get this job, then potentially it gives me a route into the African Champions League at the first time of asking. You know, they would have been there next year. I got an interview, and everything seemed to go well, but they went with an Egyptian manager just because I have no reputation in Egypt. So it's a bit strange. I thought with my reputation almost halfway up as sort of high as it can go in the gold stars, that we would manage to get it, and certainly the kind of wages I was on, the compensation package surely wouldn't have been that big. But yeah, anyway, didn't get that. In terms of the rest of our profile here, you can see now we have our Continental A licence. I did try to get the Pro licence, but they said they needed me for training, so we'll need to try and finish that off at one of our future clubs. Might not be the next one, just depends who it is. In terms of our coaching, things have improved. Obviously our knowledge of United Arab Emirates now is maxed out as well, but I don't think we'll ever be returning here for players. Regens are unlikely to be good. 3 personal awards, so 3 Manager of the Year awards, 9 team wins, and 1 runner-up. So what can I say? It's been a fantastic journey, but it's also time that we need to leave. So yes, I'm going to retire. I will be resigning as of now. Goodbye, Ajman. So the next stage of the journey begins, and I do have to now try to find a team to manage. And at the moment, taking a quick look, there are quite a lot of jobs available in the UK. I do not want to go to Europe, not at this stage, so I really have to look around and try and find a job that is going to potentially take us to a Champions League that we could conceivably try and win. So looking at the African Champions League, the Oceanic Champions League, so pretty much New Zealand. However, New Zealand seems impossible to get a job there because their top division's very small, and pretty much every manager there is secure or very secure. So it might not be particularly easy to get a job there, but we'll see. That's all for this episode, okay guys. Sorry there's no live com or no new team. Just wanted to keep it short as a quick kind of overview of how things have gone this season and overall at Ajman. But the journey is over here, and I'll be back with episode 19, hopefully with a new team to start the next part of the Hexagon Challenge. So until then guys, I'll see you when I see you.